my first inspiration for the song, I didn't know how it was ultimately going to turn out, but was to write a piece of music that had a vocal line at the start that was, as you'll be able to tell from the song, isn't really lyrics. It starts off with oohs and ohs. So whilst there are lyrics at the start of the song, I wanted to thought, well, let's do something different to what we would normally do, which is just a guitar intro, or starting with words, and just sing something that were really just vowel noises and see how that progressed. That turned into Only Way Out, or as some people have said since, Only Wee Owl. That first happened at Wildfire 2017, and some people really thought I was singing Only Wee Owl, which is fine.
But you're really good at enunciating words. So
apparently not.
Yeah, won't go there.
But it was one of those songs that when you put a demo together, it was like, what's the verse, what's the chorus? You know, it didn't have a kind of set structure. And at the time, we would have put it in the rehearsal room, and it was just one of those anthemic things. And then when we put the outro riff to it, it was just like, oh, now it's...
Whose riff is that? Is that your riff, Did?
I think we would have all put that together.
The outro riff is pretty much Did's riff, as I recall you writing that. In terms of the intro, if you remember the original demo, which you guys will also hear, we'll put it out on Facebook if we haven't done already, and that has a load of vocoder all over it. I sang it with a vocal effect that was pushing each note in a vocoder way, and then had the guitar solo afterwards. And
it was ebbing and flowing with your words. I think you knew that you wanted it to be like a huge vocal, and then an emotional lyrics and everything, but the cascade in between, you know, certain guitar parts and leading to it. And I remember thinking, what kind of solo could go at the end? And it's, you know, it's just a melodic solo, isn't it? It's just meant to be striking. But and like Grant, since Grant's been in the band, you've added all those like
the counter.
The counter melody parts and everything, which work great on bass. And Elliot, you've done okay too.
Pleasure, Tim. Thanks.
I don't exactly remember how long it took to put together, but I'd guess a couple of days. What I do remember about it was after coming up with the initial intro that were the vowels and maybe not even having a particular lyric for the first part, was I had one or two lines for the verse, and I got bored of trying to come up with some more stuff. So I went and took a shower, and I pretty much wrote the whole of the first verse in the shower. And then desperately tried to remember what I was singing, had to keep on singing it in my head to then get out of the shower, dry myself, and get back to my computer and my notepad to write down the lyrics and then record some vocal demo.
Is that why you've got a whiteboard in your shower now?
I do now.
That's where
famously have a whiteboard in the shower.
Some of the best ideas though for songwriting can actually come away from the instrument. I don't know what it's like for you guys with your drum parts.
I'll do that in the shower, but it always, I don't know why, it ends up with a smashed glass.
Right, okay, yeah, being a drummer.
Sticks in the shower don't seem to work very well.
But some of the guitar parts for that, I think I imagined them in my head accompanying what Henrik's doing with his chords and stuff, and the outro melodies and the riff. It would have been, and then put together.
Since remember one of your slightly discordant parts was a bit of a Radiohead inspiration.
Yeah. So the classic Firelli, and then you really like that kind of dissonance and things, which is the semitone. It doesn't seem to aggravate too many people in the audience, but you like it, Elliot, don't you? That dissonance with the semitone.
Love it.
You know, you tune your drums to that sound, don't you?
Before every song. Just...
Yes.
No.
Can we do a harmony? No.
Oh, can you do a harmony?
No. No, let's not do it.
This one's going to be a bit different for me. So during my auditions for Empyre, it's one of the tracks that the band were really pushing me to try and do something with to make me sort of stand out. And so I poured a lot of myself into trying to kind of add and come up with something extra for that bass line. So there's stuff that happens when I play it that's not on the record. And so, when we perform that, it kind of reminds me of that process, and I suppose having to kind of go quite deep to try and find those ideas and things to try and stand out.
Elliot, what about you as the latest? What's it like playing violin?
A bit with you, Grant, with the fact that I wanted to add my own little thing to it, and so I try and do that each time. And the fact that I know it's very emotional, and people do find it very emotional, but I don't personally have anything to it. I love playing it, and I think the response that it gets is phenomenal.
So for me, Only Way Out is one of the tracks that Henrik wrote the lyrics for and the chords, and one of the first songs we ever performed live, and it was amazing to see people's reaction and connection to it. I've never had a personal connection with it in that it means something to me personally. I much prefer the kind of reaction and people, how it relates to their own lives and identify with it. And when they sing the lyrics back, that for me is quite moving.
The singing the lyrics back, that's something, for me, that's something I'm still not used to on stage, when people sing a song that we've written back. And I think that helps with the emotional side of things. And I always see it as a highlight of the set, not necessarily because anybody else thinks it is, but I enjoy playing it and I enjoy singing it. So that's how I feel about it.
And it was never our intention, all of us, to write music that makes people cry, and feel that much
Speak
about
for yourself.
it. But respectfully, if people identify with that on a personal level and can apply it to their own lives, I think that's quite significant.
It's good.
I should have said I like it when people sing the lyrics back, so it reminds me of the lyrics.
It doesn't. It fucking puts me off.
Okay, artwork. Yeah, we do put a large emphasis on the art side of Empyre with our releases, and Only Way Out is a quite striking image with the eyelid and the light at the end of the tunnel kind of idea, with the steps going towards it. I'm sure there'll be a picture attached that you can see. What inspired it? I think probably originally we would have discussed that, and you might have come up with the eyelid idea, and probably it sounds
it's not
like
the eyelid, it's the iris, isn't it? It's the iris and the pupil, but
same thing.
Is it?
I'm glad you're not a doctor.
the eye of Sauron. But it's
the eye imagery, as with Self-Aware. Hopefully, everyone's familiar with Self-Aware cover. We've used eyes in a few of our images, haven't we? It's been an integral thing within Empyre, and it just seemed that the good idea was to have something showing some. Huh?
Good eye.
idea.
Oh, unintentional. You're such a good pupil.
Oh God.
Sorry, they're getting cornier and cornier.
Just highbrow.
Okay, so I'm going to take over.
Just lashing them out.
These are like dad jokes. I mean.
So the eyelid, the cornea is as Henrik's saying, a classic image for us that we draw upon. I always like to think it's something universal, the image of an eye, and it's the window to the soul, as cliche as possible.
Right.
And then, which it's always a striking image, and in that particular image, there's the steps to the light at the end of the tunnel, which I think a lot of people resonate with Only Way Out because they may have had difficult times in their lives, and it's that kind of realism that. Yeah, it's really dark and a bit depressing, but there's a glimmer of light.
And that's basically the whole song, because most of the song is dark and depressing, and then the glimmer of light, or the twist at the end of the verse.
And that's basically Empyre as well, just incredibly depressing with a little glimmer of light. And my brother would have designed the artwork at the time, so Andy would have put that that together. So, but really cool question.
The way it was originally conceived was with just me humming or making some noises to an acoustic guitar. So in one way, the acoustic version of it, but of course the acoustic version, as you know now, is really about Did's piano rather than my guitar, but that's how it started out. And even my guitar sound on the electric track starts out as an acoustic guitar. So that's how it started, kind of combo of them both.
So versions, guys, what do you think? Like your favourite version, Elliot, is in it's been performed many different ways.
It has. I still love it electric. I can't pull away from that. I love the acoustic version. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, the electric. I think just the dynamics in it and the build. I just love playing it. It gives me a buzz. And I start bouncing on handles.
And when everything's when the drum gets mic'd up and everything, and it's just like,
I mean, in a full rigged setup at a gig,
and you can hear a pin drop in the audience.
Yeah, the sound is unbelievable.
Big reverb, toms, and
it might sound amazing to everyone else out there, but even on stage, the feeling that I get when I'm playing it electric is amazing.
Euphoric, one might say.
Lovely. So that's one vote for electric. Grant?
This is difficult. I love the electric version primarily because Henrik plays a guitar solo and he...
A very good guitar solo.
He's very good, but he hates doing it. He's always bricking it. And to make it worse, we all back off.
Yeah.
Side of the stage. So it's all on Henrik. I enjoy that, seeing him squirm.
I know you do.
Musically, my favourite is a kind of mesh of the two. We've only done this once, but at the album Pie, we did the electric version, but with the piano, and I loved that.
Yeah,
I thought that was just
amazing.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. I remember that now. Swapping instruments.
Yeah.
So we kind of got three versions to choose from.
I completely forgot about that version as well. That makes it harder for me to answer now, Grant. Thanks for that. Over to Henrik.
My version is the acoustic. My favourite version is the acoustic version for the same reasons as Grant said, that I don't have to play a solo. The acoustic version. When it goes right, it's great, and I like standing at the front of the stage and playing guitar solo. But it seldom goes quite how I expect it or really want it to. So acoustic version, and I really like Did's piano part, which is different to what I play when I'm doing the solo, mainly because it's normally right.
I don't really do favourites, so I'm just going to say the electric version.
That's the easy way.
And the piano version. I'll justify my answer for that. That's the easy answer to do. Basically, because the electric version, for all the reasons, Elliot said, with the atmosphere and building up, and you can hear a pin drop in the audience, and it's just
Henrik's guitar solo.
Yeah, all that stuff. All those kind of reasons. The piano version it was so much joy arranging that and putting all those guitar parts and writing that outro solo. It's incredibly difficult for me to play and execute live, which I really panic about when it comes up, because I'm worried about the tempo. If we're increasing, I'm thinking, I'm not that good. But when I do nail it, it's just like, great. And it's I think his voice perhaps is even more haunting on the stripped back version than the full electric version, but both really. You goddamn right he will be, because it gives me a chance to do a bit of rhythm and just go and see Grant and Elliot for a change, and not look at the fretboard. And he's only got to concentrate on.
He goes to see Elliot. He never goes to see the rest of us.
He gives a lazy my kit.
Yeah, I really have a close connection with the drummer. Drums is the best instrument. But no, we've been writing at the minute, and some of the lead stuff you've been coming. Henrik's got with lead parts and everything that we're working on.
I don't intend to play them.
This is new to me. So I'd like to think so, yes.
Like Five and Drive, I've been playing the lead part, and we know that you're going to be doing that.
You can't tell them our silly names for future songs just yet.
We've done that before. Panasonic Screwdriver. Thanks.
So yes.
First performance for me was my audition gig, which had been, I think, NMF, which is the Northampton Festival, probably 3 years ago now. It was in July, very, very hot. Yeah, it was cool.
Was it your birthday as well? No, well, not your
No,
birthday.
it was,
It's anniversary.
it was Father's Day.
Father's Day. I know we like interrupting and ruining most of your celebrations somehow by chucking a gig in there, or making it inconvenient at least.
It was really, really hot, very bright. Not necessarily the best situation for the track, kind of.
No, it was outside and in middle afternoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Good crowd.
But it was good. It was good.
Thanks, Mother. Elliot, what about you? When's your first memory of playing that live?
I'm with you. It was my first ever gig, again, which was the Call of the Wild Battle of the Bands from
The Lincoln.
the Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it went down really well, but I think it was the loudest gig I think we've ever done in our life, because it was there was a rig set up that could have kitted out Glastonbury, because it was ridiculous.
It was like a festival rig. In a
small little venue. But yeah, it was the first time I played it. Well,
And we won that
not on my
night
own,
as well.
anyway.
We won that night. Your first gig with
Somehow
us.
you know it.
Yeah.
Had a youngster.
We'll be at that festival, won't we? Next year.
Yep, 2021.
It's coming.
Main stage now, isn't
Yeah, main stage,
Yeah.
Friday afternoon.
The first ever performance of us electric was in Northampton 2 at the Charles Bradlaugh, and Grant and Elliot looked very different.
it? Yeah, I've grown my hair. I've got
We
my
were
beard.
I was
at the
older.
time we were using the session guys, and I think it was actually captured on a phone. Someone, I think Sarah may have captured it on a
Yeah,
phone.
there is a recording. It's not out there at the moment, but there is a recording of the first ever performance. I don't know. I remember, I have a vague recollection of playing it, and
We would have done.
was pretty nervous.
I think we would have played Something Remains that night as well, because the Bradlaugh upstairs is a really nice venue and everything. And normally our territory would be to do some covers and stuff, which we probably did, but with original material, it's.
We did Just the Ride. We did
Southern.
Something Remains. We did Only Way Out. We did Infinity. Which
Oh crikey! Yeah.
no one's ever heard, and probably never will.
Infinity. No one will hear that one.
No.
That would have
and
been, even though it's a nice pop song.
Do you reckon we did Drive? Maybe we did Drive if that existed.
Oh,
Homegrown and stuff like that didn't even exist at that point.
No, none of those. Yeah, that was definitely the first performance there.
Yeah. The song's personal from the perspective that I wrote the song, but it's not particularly difficult for me to sing, but I try to put as much emotion into it as possible because of the emotional connection that I know that a lot of people have with it. As Did said earlier, we've known people in the audience to cry while it's being performed, hopefully for good reasons.
Yeah, so good, yeah.
Yeah.
God, this is terrible.
But the emotional connection, that's certainly what I'm aiming for, and to make it as emotional for other people as possible.
It's a big vocal song as well, so for I think you must be concentrating on actually those notes at the start
The
as well, and
execution.
conveying
Yeah,
the actual technique of executing those notes and everything. So
I enjoy singing it as long as I've got enough breath support to sing it. It's a great thing to sing when basically it's just me and my guitar and just singing, and that's pretty much it. It's quite nice when I'm in a big venue, just filling as much of the space as I possibly can with that sound.
and that will capture the moment, won't it? If you're nailing the notes. So yeah.